This is just Bob Bowman, and I'm coming with another video. In this video, I am going to be discussing my views on Deion Sanders and his decision to go from Jackson State University to Colorado, and what it is that I see that is kind of similar to what SYSBM and Passport Bros, what we're going through and what we're doing. Now, before we get started, I just want to say I feel better. I feel great. I just got my hair cut. I'm not even trying to hide waves, but they there. You know what I'm saying? All I use is coconut oil. But anyway, Deion Sanders, he decided to move forward in his career as being a head coach and going to a university that will not only pay him a decent salary, but will give him the help and the assistance that he needs in order to have a successful program. Now, he went to the HBCU, and it was a big deal when he first did it. And he said that it wasn't about the money, he actually wanted to help out. And when I look at his history at Jackson State, he did just what he said he was going to do. He used his own money, his own salary to help that program out. You know, he turned a football team that was terrible into one that went undefeated. He was able to recruit five-star players. He was able to motivate them to do the best that they could. He brought a lot of eyes and attention to Jackson State. And let's just be honest. Like, I've heard of Jackson State before because I'm from Chicago. And like every year, them and Grambling usually would be up here playing at Soldier Field. And the only exciting part of the game was the Battle of the Bands. Yeah, that was it. The Battle of the Bands. That's what most people went to the football game for, just to hear the two bands play against each other. It wasn't really about the football game, actually. And this is supposed to be football based. So I remember a radio station, WGCI in Chicago. They would always advertise every year that they would have the game. And it was like, oh, and the special attraction, Battle of the Bands. And I'm like, these teams must suck if the selling point are the bands. Now, I understand that bands are important and that people learn how to play musical instruments, and that's no slight to them. But for the football game to be centrally focused on two bands playing against each other, what is that saying about the programs in general? In my thought process, in my opinion, that's saying that the football isn't that good anyway. And plus HBCUs or the SWAC division, um, they're not eligible to go to like the national championships because they're not registered under that program. And also, they don't have enough money to even think about being a part of something like that. Now, when Deion Sanders was down there, like I said, he used his own money, he used his own resources, he put his own time, effort, and energy in it to make it successful. He also had to deal with people misusing him. He got grossly underpaid for doing the job. He was only getting paid $300,000 a year. So he was being grossly underpaid. He was being disrespected. His office got robbed. And then he got to see how a lot of these HBCUs, and it's a history of this, how a lot of the people that's supposed to be in leadership at these schools, how they had their hands in the cookie jar and stealing money. They not funding the programs the way that they should be funded. They not building up the infrastructure the way that it's supposed to be built up. And most people turn a blind eye to it. You know why? Because it's an HBCU. And we have to remember who prime time is. We have to remember who prime time is. And prime time was a person who not only played in a few Super Bowls, which he did, but he also played in the World Series. So he was a successful baseball player and a successful football player. One of the very few people ever to do it as big as he has. You know, he was so big that he was out here making music videos back in the early 90s. And I remember this. And I remember he had so much success that he was helping out MC Hammer when he was going through his money issues. This is the same gentleman that we're talking about here. You know, he's a special individual. He has special gifts and special talents that some people like myself wish I had even just a little bit of it, but I wasn't blessed with it, but he was blessed with it. It is what it is. That's how life works out for everybody. So with that being said, you have such a talent, such a rare individual that not only understand the athletic aspects of the game, but also understand the business aspects of the game, and you don't treat him with any type of respect. Now, we understand that your college and your school probably didn't have the money to pay him like he could be paid at a place like Colorado. But at the same time, you know, nobody was helping him out with the funding of getting uniforms or getting the proper equipment, getting helmets. Nobody was helping him with building up endorsements, getting rich people to come in and pour in some donations for the college. You know, he was basically trying to do all this by himself. Also, he had assistant coaches that he was giving some of his personal money to help him with the program to help build up his reputation because he understood even though he was getting the short end of the stick while building a successful team, he would shine so brightly that these major colleges and these major universities would have to take notice to him. And this was a bet. He betted on himself and he won. That's what I see that happen. He took the time, he took the energy, he took the effort, he took the money. You know, he spent all his attention on building this disheveled program because let's be honest, most of these HBCU football programs are disheveled, disorganized, and he turned it into a success in a matter of a few years. So anybody that want to call him a sellout for doing what it is that he knew he had to do and what he was trying to do to meet his overall goal, you don't understand how things work in this world. You see, a lot of people, especially in the community, they think that anybody that has a little bit of something, anybody that has a little bit of skill, something special about them, are supposed to spend all their energy helping out everybody without getting anything in return and actually getting robbed of their talent. You see, that's where people get wrong, you know? And it's like throwing your pearls to swine and it's getting trampled all over. And they're saying, oh, you should be happy that your pearls are being trampled over people like us because we're special. No, you're not. If you were special, you would be in a position that Deion Sanders is in, and most of you people are not. You know, just like I saw a live stream with Angry Man, and he pretty much broke it down. He was like, who is he trying to save? Like, is he trying to save people that don't know how to manage their money, don't know how to invest in their money, want to go out and party, buy a lot of clothes, buy a lot of materialistic things that they can't afford, trying to live above their means, talking ignorant and and they're very arrogant, very selfish, very egotistical. Like the community is full of a lot of narcissism and a lot of narcissistic people. And let's just be honest about it. Because a lot of people that come from that environment, they think they have something when they really don't. Now, how can I say this? Because I used to have that same mindset until I had to wake up and realize what was going on around me and change the way that I think so I don't end up being like how they think, because they still looking at Deion Sanders as he owes the community something. When Deion Sanders did his part, he did his part. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He did help out, but you expect him to keep on draining himself, keep on using all his energy, keep on spending all his money, helping out individuals that don't appreciate anything that he did or does. And the reaction to him moving on to Colorado is letting me and letting a lot of other people know that no matter how much help you do for others, no matter what positive impact you bring, that it never will be enough in certain people's eyes. Now, that kind of reminds me of the SYSBM mindset, because it's a lot of men out here who have done a lot of things for the community, helped out, gave money, spent time, spent energy, only to be disregarded and tossed to the side once they couldn't help out anymore. And when these people end up bouncing back from that, how do you expect them to think at that point? Now, you say, Angry Man also said something that I agree with, and I'm just reiterating. He said that, oh, they waiting on him to have his N-word moment, as they call it, where he realizes that these white folks don't like him as much as he think they do. Well, guess what? Dealing with the community, he understands that they don't like him as much as he thought they did. And that's what a lot of black men starting to realize, that no matter where we're at, we're always going to be seen as the enemy. We're always going to be seen as a tool. We're always going to be seen as a utility. We have to become our own agency. And that's something that Sheep Stay Sleep TV always talk about. DS1 Ross. He always talk about we have to be our own agency. And that's what I get from this Deion Sanders controversy, is that he is becoming his own agency, and he is thriving from becoming his own agency, regardless of what anybody has to say. I don't care if you want to call him a sellout. I say that he bought into himself. He invested in himself. Him helping that uh university, that HBCU, Jackson State, was him investing in himself so he could get the head coaching job that he wanted. And guess what? I see even bigger things for Deion Sanders if he keep this trajectory going, where he's going to eventually become a head coach for an NFL team. You see, instead of tearing down somebody for advancing and becoming bigger than what you thought they should be or where you think they should be at, you should celebrate them. And it doesn't matter if you don't like how brash they are, how braggadocious they are. But if they putting in the hard work, why hate on them? And that's all I see around me. There's a lot of hatred. You see, 2 years ago, I hit rock bottom. And I had to face certain facts about myself, that I was looking for a handout, that I was looking for somebody to save me from my stupid decisions in life, that I was trying to live up to something that I had no idea the hard work and the dedication that it would take to live up to. And I had to pay the price for that. And I saw other people that didn't work nearly as hard as I did become successful. And I saw other people that worked just as hard as me become much more successful than I am. got several businesses, and I couldn't hate on that. I had to say, you know what? It's time for me to go back to the drawing board, fix my life, and get to the point to where I can become successful. And I'm still at in the starting the beginning phases of it because it's only been a year of me totally dedicating myself into becoming a better version of myself. And that's after getting out of debt 100%. But I'm on that track. And it doesn't matter what the negativity around me, the naysayers around me, and I call it negativity because those people are negative, so I just call them negativity. It doesn't matter what the negativity has to say. As long as I'm doing what it is that I can do at this current time in order to build myself up to where I can become more successful. That is the blueprint that Deion Sanders just laid out for black men in general. You have a goal that you want to achieve. Sometimes you're going to have to make sacrifices that you don't want to make. Sometimes you're going to have to go down a road less traveled to get there. But once you prove yourself and once you build yourself up to a certain level and to a certain extent, you're going to make it to that next level. Now, you can either whine or cry about it, but you have to figure out what's best for you. You see, success isn't promised to anybody. It's not even promised to me. While I'm making these videos and doing all this, success isn't promised to me. I could fail at everything that I do and just live an average normal life. But guess what? I understand even living an average life, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. So that's what keeps me humble. That's why when I look at a man like Deion Sanders, I don't look down upon him. I don't call him a sellout because I see the overall goal of what he's trying to do. And he's not only trying to better himself, he's trying to put his family in a better position because I know that he's talking about his son playing quarterback for Colorado eventually. You see, you people out here, and yes, I'm saying you people, you don't understand generational wealth. You don't understand building a legacy because a lot of you don't care about that. And sometimes when you trying to build wealth and you're trying to build legacy, you're gonna have to make decisions that's gonna piss off a lot of people. You know, when I remember when when I hit rock bottom and I made a decision to change my ways and I made some choices that was hard for me, but there were people that was waiting on me to make the choice that they wanted me to make, and I didn't make that choice. And they were disappointed. They like, man, I didn't think you was gonna pivot that way. I thought you was gonna pivot this way, but that way wasn't for me. You see, because as a man, I got to do what's best for me and my future. And if I ever get married and have children, I have to do what's best for my family and my future and my children's future. And that's all I see Deion Sanders doing. You see, and even though I'm not politically affiliated, I will say this that the blueprint that Deion Sanders laid out is a very fundamentally conservative view where you roll up your sleeves, you do the hard work, and you press forward. Regardless of how bad the days get, no matter how stressful it get, you got to press forward. See, I'm not an ultra conservative and I'm not a liberal. I'm more of a moderate. However, the older I get, I'm leaning more right than I am left. And that's because I understand the realities of life and that I have to pull myself out. I cannot expect a handout. You understand what I'm saying? I can't expect anybody to help me. If I get help, that's great. That's awesome. I will take the help, but I don't expect it and I'm not entitled to it. And I understand that. And that's the reason why I have the mindset that I have right now. See, Deion Sanders got it out the mud right in front of our faces and showed us how to do it. Now, what are we as black men going to do in order to better ourselves? Because now we have to figure out what's best for us to make it to that next level. I know I'm doing that. But this is just Bob Bowman. Have a nice evening.